Good morning, everyone. It is your daily crypto news for Thursday, February 1st, 2024. My name is Matt, and you can reach me at matt@dailycryptonews.net. I had a time crunch this morning. It's currently 11:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I had some stuff to do this morning, and it's not allowing me to research the news like I want to. So I said, you know what? Let's dig back into the archives. I've been talking about Solana quite a bit. I interviewed Anatoly Yakovenko a couple years ago, and let's just see what he said and compare it to what he said a couple years ago on September 3rd to the market today. See what things match, what things don't, things that they accomplished, things that they didn't. I think it'll be kind of interesting. Anyway, here's Solana's creator, Anatoly Yakovenko. I'll see you after this conversation for crypto prices. Anatoly Yakovenko, creator of Solana. How you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hey, great to be here.
Excellent. You know what, man? What an exciting time for Solana. Like last time we spoke on the show, we were doing a Solana 101. I think you were in like Lake Tahoe somewhere. I don't even know what was going on. And Solana was at like $25. We're at like $115 today. Solana is on a tear. What do you attribute that to?
Man, I wish I knew this stuff. Like, it's really hard to understand how these markets move or who makes a move and for what reason. In the ecosystem, what we've seen though in the last couple of months is the explosion of NFTs on Solana. So there's a lot of small projects that were just artist driven, organic folks that were able to launch using this framework called Metaplex, which is a Shopify style, build your own NFT airdrop, an NFT drop mechanism. And 90,000 NFTs have been minted and dropped through this process. And I think the NFT as a kind of like component of cryptocurrencies or as a new, I guess, market or vertical in cryptocurrencies, I don't even know how to think of it, a social movement, I guess. It brings a lot of users with it. And that's really, I think, key driver of anything, right? Is how do we get humans to use any of this stuff?
NFTs. Look, we saw the NFTs and we understood about NFTs. You guys are just really quick, just to compare this to ETH, obviously, is ETH is the thing that everybody's comparing everything to. Gas prices are cheaper, obviously. Things move a lot faster, obviously. So that's a big, benefit for Solana. But what else is Solana doing besides NFTs? Is NFTs and Solana a one-trick pony, or is there other things going into Solana right now? Because look, we see the same thing with Ethereum. I mean, last time it came up, it was like, ICOs and STOs, and then it was DeFi, and now Solana we see pumping with NFTs. What else is going on?
Us as labs, we don't even get to do any of this fun stuff, right? We're working on the majority of our time is spent working on boring sounding optimizations to databases and operating systems. But the tools that have been created in the community have really empowered people to self-serve and go self-create and go start this stuff. So it's really, for us to say it's a one-trick pony, I think would be really short-sighted, because the artists that have been able to start their communities and generate these artworks and really get themselves going have now a new source of revenue, right? It's really hard for an artist to come up with a new way to make money. Like that basically never happens, right? Like you're starting artist until you die, and then somebody sells you paintings for a lot of money. I think this explosion of digital art across Ethereum and now in Solana has been just amazing to see how many artists have now been self-funded. I'm excited to see what they come up and build next. One project that's related to the space, Star Atlas, just they didn't go live, but part of their economics, it's basically, think massive multiplayer game like EVE Online, EverQuest, World of Warcraft style, but space themed. All of their items, currencies, everything is on chain. So it's this really ambitious AAA effort to go build a game, but because everything has real value, is now its own digital space, right? Its own metaverse, it's play to earn, it's NFTs, it's cryptocurrencies, it's everything in between, all in one game. So those guys just launched their currencies and had like a tremendous launch as well. And that was just last week, but since we spoke, I don't know if you remember, the Mango IDO was like almost used up half of the USDC that was available on Solana as part of their auction. Just pretty crazy to see the projects that were in the hackathons from the last time we talked are now all launching. And if I had to attribute the growth of the network from an economics sense, it would be from those people. Like the fact that they went from idea to product to now product market fit.
I had somebody on the show, and I just wanted to comment on what you said about artists, and I think that's just the most amazing thing that's happening when it comes to NFTs right now. Is I was talking to this artist probably about maybe a year ago or more on the show, and he just started getting into NFTs, making art on NFTs, and he was in Mexico City. And he had a full-time job, and then after a while, he quit his full-time job. He has 4 kids. I found out he's taking care of his whole family, and then he just paid off his mom's house, all by quitting his job, making art in NFTs. And I think that is absolutely amazing what you guys have built for artists and community members to build off of and build on, and just live their lives the best lives that they absolutely can. You mentioned RPGs, and what other aspects or other, I guess, maybe products that are coming out on Solana that is going to be a direct competitor either to what's happening on other blockchains, or that you're very excited about?
I think we're kind of at this place, I think both with Solana, Ethereum, and cryptocurrencies in general, that just people are shipping everything. Where this is so different. What's so different about this cycle than the previous one is that we're not talking about white papers and people raising capital to go build something. It's here's a new product, here's a new idea, here's a new spin on how to combine maybe games and NFTs or music and art and whatever, and how to build communities. And it's the financial aspect of these things is happening with real life products and real life communities. So this is really, really different, right? Like from any other cycle in cryptocurrencies that we've seen before. So I'm really excited. Just like the next year, I think is going to be really, really interesting. Like, what are these projects that have an opportunity to get to, I don't know, 50 million users, all using the same NFT community or the same token or the same game that has crypto economics in it?
I guess what I'm asking is, what do you see that is sustainable? And I want to say that I don't want to make this sound offensive, obviously, but I don't know if NFTs is just a bubble, like a Beanie Baby sort of thing, and they see CryptoPunks are going to be an obsolete in a couple months, or
does it matter?
I mean, I don't know if it matters. I don't know. And I guess that's the question. It's like, does it matter? And like, are we going to see sustainability in the use of these platforms, or is it going to be like this wavy thing and we're always going to have trend in, trend out, trend in, trend out?
Well, the sustainable part is that you have creative people that come up with new ideas, looking at the past and remixing them and building something new. So if CryptoPunks take a back seat to something, maybe that'll be for a year, maybe it'll be for a month, because there's something new that's hot, and then the next person that's creative remixes the old back into like the new. So this is a really different time in the space than any other. So it's not really comparing it to bubbles. The 2017 bubble of it came and went, right? And there was 3 years of people building stuff, right? And now we're at the point where we've built the infra that enables new engineers, new developers to come in and quickly reiterate. And this quick iterative cycle is really driving everything in crypto right now and driving growth.
What do you think about the growth in, going off of growth, just the growth in market cap of Solana? Look, I don't want to talk about price or speculation, obviously, but, moving Solana into the top 10 moves it into a radar that wasn't there before. Yes, you have been validated for the bullishness you have on your product, and everybody's just like, oh, I see it now. What do you think of this whole upward momentum that you've had since the last time we spoke?
It's a lot of work. It's just being open. It's pretty crazy. Like, I mean, we're obviously super happy and super excited to kind of see that recognition. And it's really benefiting all the projects in the space that are building on Solana. It's hard. I still haven't wrapped my mind around it, basically. Like, what does that mean? Why is it important for Bitcoin to be at 50,000 versus 25, right? Like, does that actually mean that it's generating twice as much impact or value creation in the world? Are there twice as many users using it, right? Are we still purely in this like speculative phase where all the cryptos have this potential, right, that still hasn't been met? I think realistically, what we're really focused on is unblocking those devs, those artists that are like, hey, I heard about crypto. What do I do with it? Like that's all kind of the most important part, and making sure that, they can onboard users and educate those users about cryptography and everything else. Like, I don't know if you saw there was an article about MetaMask, 3 million monthly active users in DeFi. That's it. That's a very small number. Compare that to like any social network, Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, right? It's a staggeringly small amount of people.
I mean, but I also saw an article that said, OpenSea had $3 billion in revenue in August, and that's stacking up more than Etsy. That's stacking up. That's stacking up with the big dogs there. So I
Yeah.
mean, that's pretty damn impressive. I
What,
guess.
so what does it mean, right? If it's a small number of users that are driving this, it's crazy, right?
But that's what I'm saying, and that's why I said it's a trend in and out. And you said, does it really matter? And that's what I'm wondering is like this space is kind of like getting validated that these are actual things with actual use cases and actual people doing things. And if NFTs go away and all of a sudden the baby bubble busts and everybody goes away, the critics are all of a sudden say, "Well, told you again, told you you're wrong again," and then we have to defend the industry over and over and over again.
I think regardless of prices and bubbles and those things, the economics are going to matter less because you have so many new people that are able to ship and get to market. So whatever that fad passes, there's already 100 people literally just like, what am I building in crypto? Like they're already thinking about this, already started writing that first line of code, and they're getting to market. And on Solana, they're getting to market with a chain that has low fees and is able to scale, and they never have to worry about a whole bunch of issues that you see on Ethereum. So that's really like kind of the difference now. It really feels much closer to late. I don't know. Maybe that started that curve in the internet when you started seeing a ton of projects come in with real functioning products that you could experiment and play with. Like we're maybe at the phase where like emails started working on the internet.
That actually brings up a good point. Because of Solana's rise and its placement now in the space, and being in the top 10 is not a little thing. No matter if we're just talking about the price of the coin or the market cap, all eyes are pretty much on those coins or those projects. Do you feel more responsibility?
For sure, right? It's like, if anything, yeah, it just feels like the pressure's on, and the engineering.
What kind of pressure? What is the pressure and responsibility you feel? Is it so that there isn't a hack, or because you're worried that people are buying now and the price is going to drop? What is the pressure that you're feeling?
It's really that there's the opportunity, I think, to change the world, and like how do we actually like make sure that this technology gets in front of people, that they get to use it, that they see the benefits of it, and find those devs that want to build those products. It's just, we were doing that before, but now it feels like we got to do 100x of that, right? Like it, and like we're lucky that it's not just us doing all this stuff. There's a whole community of people now that are part of this effort. But it definitely feels just like there's now a burning fire to move a lot faster. Try to move as fast as you can.
Do you feel that there is any competition coming up from ADA or Cardano now that they launched their smart contracts, or will still on the 12th?
Paul Graham always said, don't look at the big companies, the big projects. Always look at what the startups are doing. What's the smallest, hungriest team that's executing in the space. So I'd honestly be more, the likelihood of I think another up and coming chain is probably higher than one of the majors that have been stuck in the top 10 for the last 5 years of doing anything.
Very interesting. Yeah. Last question I want to pick your brain about, because look, this is something I've never got a chance to experience in your I guess level, in a certain small level I have, but I guess that's just freedom. And look, with the rise of the market cap of Solana, it gives you a lot of more freedom as an individual, as a creative, to try to figure out what your next move is and how you want to develop even Solana, if Solana is still your next move. What are you thinking about as a person that has now a much more economic freedom, I would assume, a lot more ideas that you want to see come to fruition? What are you like saying that this is now my goal?
If I had like time, I would be working on climate change. Like that's like
Word. Okay. And is that something that you could bridge Solana into, or is that a whole different other project?
It would be a whole different other project. I feel like there's an opportunity for cryptocurrencies to accelerate some of this. It's not. I don't think it needs anything new. We have all the technology and the pieces to make it work. We just need to have more people that are smart and resourced and connected. And there's no more network than crypto of connected people around the world that are driven and know how to build shit. That's the most hyper-connected set of people. So figuring out a way where we can move stuff faster would be, I think, if I had time, that's what I'd be working on. Where like Solana comes into play in terms of like what we want to do in the future at the protocol level, it's engineering work. It's not computer science work, and it's hard and it's fun, and it's going to have a ton of impact because it's going to allow these networks to scale to 1 billion people or 100 million people with 100 accounts each or whatever. However you want to imagine like these things getting cheaper and start replacing Web2 services. It's going to be as cheap and as fast to send 0.002 cents on Solana as it is to see an ad from Google, right? And if you start getting into those points of inflection where cryptocurrency and doing financial stuff on these networks is cheaper than advertisement, right? Then cheaper than like stealing your attention. Just all these people are going to start figuring out new business models to get away from like the old and start building with the new. So that's coming, right? That's just engineering. Stuff gets faster, things get optimized, things get cheaper. So that's just a pretty exciting time. And like not in any way less important than what you saw with like 2G networks moving to LTE to 5G, right? It was a bunch of engineering work, and it took 10 years. I'm hoping this is going to be 5 years, but it truly revolutionized everything, right? Like that's the kind of stuff that I'm really excited about.
I want to pop back over to climate change for a second because I just want to, I guess, get your opinions. Like, what's the best way to tackle that? Because look, I've seen like, carbon credits. I've seen people, but at the end of the day, it's all about making actual change, people changing their habits, how would you approach it?
Dude, just build a decentralized global utility of shared solar power. Like we don't need the state, we don't need anyone else. We have tokens, we have cryptography, we can measure exactly who's providing energy where, and this could run totally separate from anyone else's bullshit. Look at helium, right? It's inconceivable for somebody outside of crypto to imagine that you could build a carrier, like a wireless carrier, which is only like AT&T, Verizon, everywhere else in the world. These are effectively, arms of the government, the federal government in that space. Like no other place in the world that really has a ground up user supplied, like just here's the hardware, here's the network, here's the cryptography to make sure everyone's doing a good job. You can do that with energy, right? And like, I think these kinds of attempts could be really impactful because crypto is really global and moves really, really quickly. Moves way faster than any policy decision maker ever can.
Interesting. Anatoly Yakovenko, creator of Solana, thanks for coming on the show and, talking all kinds of things. I don't even know where we ended up at, but I'm going to end up there with climate change because honestly, you're a brilliant dude. Obviously, a lot of ideas. I would talk to you for hours. I know that you have a meeting probably right about now and we have to get off the phone, but thank you for coming on and, sharing those ideas with me. And, congratulations with all the success for Solana.
For sure. Thank you so much. Take care.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
And the time is 11:41 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Fear Greed is at, let's see here, it's at 56. It's neutral. Bitcoin sitting at $42,420. 42,420, down 2.2% in 24. Ethereum's at $2,275, down 2.2%. Tether's number 3, Binance is at 298, down 1.7%. And in Solana, down almost 6% at 95.18. Running up the top 10, we have XRP, USDC, Cardano, Avalanche, down around 6% as well at 33.18. Great time to buy. And Dogecoin. The total market cap is sitting at 1.63 trillion, a Bitcoin dominance of 51.3 and an ETH dominance of 16.9. And that was our show today. We'll be back with Asia Focus tomorrow. And until then, happy hodling, everyone.